Hi folks, something I hear quite a bit of complaining about is people going outdoors and not being able to find a lot of dry wood to start a fire with, and coming across obviously a lot of wet wood. So the thing is, if you can find damp wood, even wet wood, it makes a good base for a fire. I'll explain why in a bit. So irrespective of whether this timber is wet, dry, soaking, put it down as a base. I don't know what size fire you want to make. Obviously I think you'd start off fairly small. So build yourself a base, put some bigger pieces on the side to frame it, and let's put a back piece on. Alright, so now you've got a frame. This will be where your final fire takes place. I suppose we can always indicate that now. Obviously you'd like this tinder base to be fairly dry, if not completely dry. If not, once again, just put this down, even if it's fairly wet, and you can start your fire with dry stuff on top of this, your tinder bundle. The fire will obviously, as this fire is burning on top, will dry this. So this becomes almost like delayed burning timber, or fuel. So once again, don't worry about the state of that. As long as you've got yourself a good flame burning on top with good combustible materials, this will eventually dry out and will burn. So irrespective of what this is, whether it's all soaked, wet, damp, whatever, continue to bring wet wood in. Just place it around the fire wherever you can find a space. Don't get involved in this opening here. Don't close it off with the wet wood. Just place your wet wood all around. You see the way I'm placing it, it allows, with these gaps in the actual frame here, the heat can go through and start drying this, which is the whole premise of this video. Is no matter what wood you've got, no matter its condition, you can start drying it out. Don't discard it and just leave it on the ground, around the fireplace, and it's like, well, too wet to use. Not true at all. It's going to take some time to dry, but at least you are working towards a renewable source of fuel once the original stuff is done. So now this timber, you could probably stack it a bit deep if you wanted to. I'm just doing this by way of example. But once this fire is going, obviously you guys are going to have to find something that's dry and some way to sustain this. This becomes this entire frame of timber here becomes a consumable thing, because as this burns away, unless you're trying to maintain some specific shape of fire, this is just going to start being included. As it dries out, it's going to burn. It might burn like a slow fuse, but either way, you are working toward dry timber. With something like this as well, just if you're looking for a fire to heat you, this is going to work fine initially once this has got going, but this is sort of a cooking fire, one-way fire. The other thing that you can do with the timbers, if you want to, you can make a consumable reflector out of it. You can stack it, just figure it out. Stack it all tall, maybe double layer, triple layer, and as the front layer dries out, put it into the fire, and then just keep kind of feeding it through. So it's just really about drying out stuff that isn't initially usable. And I've done this a few times, and it's actually quite cool, because you have sometimes a sort of slow burning fire, because not all your dry wood burns quickly, but this damp wet stuff is only burning in increments. Yeah, well, I hope that was helpful. Have a nice day.